Yo, what is up, y'all? My name is Robert Donaldson, and welcome back to another edition of Rob's Best Bets. And we are once again talking about college hoops. And as you guys can see, we went 3-3 against the spread on Sunday. And we also dropped one of our smaller long shot stab futures with North Florida. That was a tough one because we also took their money line, and we were ahead of that line movement like crazy. We got the money line price when it was sort of at a pick'em. The line creeped up all the way to 3.5, and it did not matter. They had an 18-point lead with 8 minutes left in the first half before getting absolutely run out of the gym from that point forward. And that's just how it goes sometimes. And we knew going in that they were a volatile team. That's kind of why I liked taking a long shot stab with them. But hey, it blew up in our face in the first game of the tournament, and that's just what it is. We move on. It wasn't a crazy losing night, so that's kind of what it comes down to there. But with all that being said, we do have a pretty nice Monday slate here. It's a very small card for us, but I do like the games that we're going to be taking part in, and we also have some futures in play as well in the A-Sun Conference Tournament. But with all that being said, we're going to take a second here to shout out today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. And if you haven't already followed me over on Twitter/X at RobDFB, make sure you go and do so, because we post our Underdog player entries every single day, and we've been on an absolute heater. We've hit 4 of our last 8 6-1 paying slips, and obviously that's very difficult to do. Yesterday, we hit 2 of the 3 players that we put in our slip, and I do feel like, we're seeing that side of things extremely well. So if you haven't already used promo code RobDFB over at Underdog, make sure you go and do so, and you guys will get a pretty sweet deposit match bonus. And then head over to Twitter and follow along with our plays, and it really is as easy as that. But with all that being said, y'all, I'm ready to hop into these Monday picks. All right, first up, we are heading out to the A-Sun tournament, where we have one of our futures in action with Jacksonville taking on Eastern Kentucky, and they are laying a perfectly fair line in this game, given the fact that they have already beaten Eastern Kentucky twice. And this is where it got dicey when we were picking our future, and this is still a dicey matchup just in general, but I do think that Jacksonville just matches up so well with Eastern Kentucky, and I do think they win this game. They're laying 2.5 points here, and I do think that it's a good price to lay it here. So let's go ahead and lay the number for 2 units for our first bet here on Monday. For pick number 2, we are heading out to Durham, North Carolina, where we have a game between Wake Forest and the Duke Blue Devils, and Wake Forest right now has found themselves onto the bubble inexplicably because of 2 big-time losses in their last 3 against Virginia and NC State. And this is still a very talented team, but they have not lived up to the expectations this season. And now they are facing off against a Duke team that has absolutely been murdering teams over the last 5. And when you're looking at Duke, they are very reliant on a young core and a young, inexperienced head coach. And I do think that in these spots where they're laying 20-plus points, they can sometimes come in a little bit lackadaisical. We saw that against NC State at home in Durham just this season, when NC State almost kind of took it to Duke and had them on the ropes in the second half. Well, I say we go ahead and take a small stab here with Wake Forest, getting the 20.5 points for 2 units for our second bet here on Monday. For pick number 3, we are heading down to the SWAC, where we have a game between Texas Southern and Alcorn State. And these are 2 programs that in regular season SWAC play just go off. Every single year they have great years, but in particular for Texas Southern this year, they're having a down season. And Alcorn State, and if you're not familiar with the SWAC model, it can be a little bit confusing, or at least a little bit deceiving if you just look at the overall win-loss record, because these programs, these teams, basically schedule losses out of conference play against higher major opponents to collect paydays and to fund their programs. And that's why when they come into conference play, they have like 2 wins and they're 2-12 or whatever it comes out to. And even though they're playing well in conference play, Alcorn State has a 9-19 record. Texas Southern has a 13-16 record. But when you look at Alcorn, this is a team that I think can win the SWAC this season based on how they're playing. And when you're looking at this game in particular, I think they're catching a down Texas Southern team. So let's go ahead and bet Alcorn State on the money line for 3 units for our third bet here on Monday. For pick number 4, we're going to go ahead and stay in the SWAC, where we have a really fun game between Southern, the king of this conference, and Florida A&M. And Florida A&M is having a surprisingly really good season because they've been in the doldrums of this conference for as far back as I can remember. And now they are competitive. Now they are winning basketball games. And now they're only catching a short number of 3.5 against a Southern team that has been running through this conference. And I do feel like that's an indicative number of Florida A&M potentially winning this game outright, or at the very least keeping it within a possession. And for those reasons, I say we go ahead and take the 3.5 points with the Rattlers for 3 units for our fourth bet here on Monday. All right, for our final bet here on Monday, we are heading down to the Southland, where we have a game between Incarnate Word and Northwestern State. And Incarnate Word is a team that we've been backing quite frequently this season because I just like the makeup of their team. I think they're physical. I think they're well coached. And when you're looking at this game right here against Northwestern State, I think they match up, in particular in this matchup, pretty darn well. And they're catching 2.5 points when I think that they actually are the better team in this game. And for that reason, I say we go ahead and take those 2.5 points for 2 units for our final bet here on Monday. All that being said, I really want to thank you guys for checking out today's video. And if you do want to show some love, make sure you drop a like in the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and make sure you comment down below. But with all that being said, y'all, I will see you in a future video. Take it easy.